Hey, why should we care about cover crops? Because they feed your soil and your animals at the same time. Here we go. It's early spring, my fields are shit, we're gonna go sow seed, and I'm gonna take you out there and show you what I'm doing and why. All right, this is the back pasture up behind my house and farm up the hill. There's other neighboring houses up here. But this land was not well managed. There were a lot of really invasive weeds, did nothing for the soil. It's heavy clay. So I'm going to improve it with cover crops. Let me show you what we're dealing with here. You can see there's a lot of bare area. So this was all just quarantined off from the horses a couple of months ago. Unfortunately, I didn't get the fence built for the sacrifice plot until much later than I had wanted. But I digress. What I'm doing now is overseeding. I'm a no-till farmer, so I have no desire to till up this ground. Instead, I'm gonna do what I've done in years past, which is I'm gonna overseed or broadcast annual ryegrass is my main crop. Annual ryegrass does not require tilling in order to germinate. Rather, what it just needs is moist conditions, right temperature, and we've had that the last couple of days. In the areas that I've already seeded, it's been covered to protect it from birds. We have a lot of robins out right now, and I don't want them taking the seed. Let me show you my process. Okay, I want to show you something. Over the course of the winter time, when I clean the horse stalls, I take their soiled bedding and I bring it up and start spreading it out on the pasture. Why am I doing that? One, horse manure is full of grass seed, so you're basically getting free seed in your pasture if you dump it. Two, I have a portion of my pasture that is so nasty and dead, and the soil is just never been nutrient dense at all. We're having some desertification, meaning it's starting to crack. It's not retaining water. I have to do something about that. So by adding manure, I am filling that animal nutrient soil gap, right? What I'm doing is I'm returning nutrients to the soil by way of animal manure. Number three, most people don't realize that when you let animals go or return nutrients through used compost on the pasture, it actually creates heat and humidity. You're creating a mini microclimate a few inches off of the Earth's surface, and you're going to increase your seed germination for cover crops.
Annual ryegrass is great for improving soil health and tilth. It helps with water absorption and retention, topsoil health, fixing organic matter. Forageable turnips help to loosen compacted soil, weed suppression, and harbor beneficial insects. TRITICALE is good for weed suppression, nitrogen, and topsoil health. BERSEEM clover is good for nitrogen, potassium, weed suppression, topsoil health, and harboring beneficial insects. Whether you're mixing the seed first and then distributing it through a seeder or just sprinkling it here and there by hand, I always make sure to overseed and then top with a little bit of straw mulch or hay. This keeps it moist, keeps it in place, and hides it from birds. If you're unsure about what cover crops to plant, I love the Rodale Institute's website. This is a free resource that has a chart. If you just Google Rodale Institute cover crops for no-till mulch systems, and you'll see all different kinds of species, hardiness, when to sow, when to harvest, and all the benefits they provide to soil. The thing about sowing cover crops is what works for me is not going to work for you. We are in different growing zones. I have a different soil type. I have a different grade on my hill. I experience different amounts of sunshine, precipitation, and sun exposure in these particular locations. So while you know what I'm sowing in my fields today, I wouldn't run out, plant it in yours, and expect it to work. Start by knowing what kind of soil you have and the problems that you are looking to fix. Also know the type of nutritional requirements of your animals. Take those things, have that information ready, and go to the chart I showed you on the Rodale Institute website. From there, figure out what cover crops that you can plant in cold weather and warm weather if you want to stack your plantings. I'm sowing now here in March, and I'm going to do it again probably end of June, and then I'm going to do a fall one around late August, September, depending on the weather. This is incredibly microclimate specific, but I promise you it will work to improve your soil while feeding your animals. It's amazing what those things can do. Bringing in animals, bringing in cover crops, and using pasture rotation, it's how nature intended it to be. We seed, we let it get established, we divide the pastures with poly rope netting, and then we get the spring rush where things just like take off, and that's when we start our pasture rotation schedule. So for now, phase 1, seed sowing. Phase 2, dividing.